Stop being ghosted by candidates and start using this one simple trick that's going to decrease the number of times candidates no-show for your interviews by 90%. It's so easy. When I was a beginning recruiter, I did everything wrong. It took me way too long to get candidates on the phone and engaged in a conversation so we could move on to the more meaningful parts of the hiring process. When I discovered applicant tracking systems, I was blown away. Now, that's news of the past. What I still find clients struggling to grasp is the concept of using a self-scheduling tool. There's a dime a dozen. Calendly, You Can Book Me, Time Trade, check them out. We built one right into Discover because it's so important to moving fast and not being ghosted by candidates. I had a friend I was talking to about hiring service technicians. He said you literally have to get these people engaged within the first 15 minutes after they submit a resume. That seems like an impossibility, but using self-scheduling tools and automation sequences built into platforms like Discover, you can really conquer this problem. The beauty of a self-scheduling tool is it allows you to quickly assess candidates' resumes, score them, and then en masse email or text, and text is key in this day and age. 9 times out of 10, I start with a text message, and I only send the email as a follow-up to the text message just to remind them that, hey, I'm really trying to get a hold of you. You can send these self-scheduling links in a short text message saying, hey, thank you, Jane or John, for applying to our position at XYZ company. Click here to pick a 15-minute time to do an initial interview. And candidates do it all the time. Deliver a method for them to schedule a call with you on their phone in a simple click of a button. Phone tag or email tag or exchanging times over email or text is the kiss of death in hiring. Use self-scheduling tools, solve the problem for everybody involved. You're making the experience 10 times better for the candidate and 1,000,000 times better for yourself. Okay, why does this stop ghosting? Well, one, you're reducing the friction in the process. I'm often using these in the first interaction. 15-minute call to get to know each other, decide whether this is the next step. They book the call, it's on the calendar, but the reminder sequence is the gold. Again, a lot of times these people are power applying to jobs. They might even remember who you are or what the job is or why they even care. By reminding them and sharing with them stories and messages that can get them re-energized, re-excited about the position, are going to guarantee that they show up for that interview. It also shows that you're serious, that you've taken the time to make this process as enjoyable and as engaging for them as possible, to make it easy for them to learn more about you and your organization. Gets to tell you how serious you are about the candidate in terms of moving fast. Candidate gets immediate gratification. They know they booked the call. They know that somebody is committed to showing up to meeting with them at that time. So there's really 3 main ways that occurs. I'm going to call the candidate. 2, I'm going to do this over Zoom, which is by far my preferred method for first interviews because I already get some face-to-face time. A phone call is a little less personal. I don't get to see the person. I don't get to see the reactions. They don't get to see me. And the third, we did this with some commercial truck drivers, and I love this for frontline workers. They reached out to 20 candidates and they used the self-scheduling tool. They booked times for people every 15 minutes to do an in-person meeting for the first meeting. And sure enough, some people did flake out, but by doing it that way, they had a couple of different hiring managers. They were able to triage, so they were able to bring in a ton of people all at once in person, and the interviews and the meetings that went well, those got extended and they went long, and ultimately they made offers. So 3 different ways. Interviewer calls the candidate, use Zoom or Teams, or have these people self-schedule for an in-person interview. Super efficient. The 4th way, my less desired, but we did this with commercial real estate brokers. We're looking for hungry salespeople. So we actually did this the other way around, and we put into the self-scheduling instructions, hey, at this time, call hiring manager, and here's their phone number. We wanted to make sure that they weren't afraid to pick up the phone and get the business and call the hiring manager. So that's a fourth little bonus tip on how to leverage self-scheduling tools and where to schedule those calls. All right, the best part about self-scheduling is it sends the reminders for you. This gives you an opportunity to build in nurturing content, to send them those videos, those stories about other people in your organization, the message from the president, links to your website, links to your social media, to the job description. I like a 3 reminder sequence. So 3 days ahead of time, 1 day ahead of time, 1 hour ahead of time. That ensures that you have delivered the message, and in that message, you're delivering where and how to engage in that conversation. So having these reminders, especially the one that comes just an hour before, makes it easy for them to know when and where to be or how to access. The last big tip here with self-scheduling is some of the more advanced, more expensive, more robust self-scheduling tools like Calendly, you can actually schedule and coordinate multiple people. This is fantastic when you're starting to get to those second or third interviews where you're going to bring in 2, 3, 4, 5 people into a single interview. You send them that link and then they use that to coordinate a time that works good for them and all of the stakeholders who are involved. And I'll show you here in Discover, we built it right in just for our clients who haven't got up to speed, who don't want to pay for a third-party tool. It's built in, no additional cost. I like to use Zoom, here we go, and I can also use tokens, so that way they can be highly personalized. And then again, I threw in here the nurturing content, and then here are the scheduling times. So I like my first interviews to be about 30 minutes, or you can go with those 15 minutes or 1 hour times. Obviously, time zones, you can put in buffers. Oftentimes, when I'm dealing with candidates that have very specific skill sets, those first interviews need to go a little bit longer, so I can throw in a buffer. Now, the next key here is I talk about time blocking. In the mornings is when I like to get my core work done. I need my focus time, so I only take interviews in the afternoon, and I do it between 1 and 5 p.m. So we'll only allow people to schedule in the afternoon. I won't get that 7 a.m. interview that I wasn't expecting. So take advantage of this. You can use tools like this, and then you can put it in a nice welcome message. And then here's where we do the reminders. And you can set really an unlimited number of reminders and however you want. Since this is going via text, I like to keep it kind of simple. So I'm not sending them a paragraph of information via text message. And then the best part of using self-scheduling tools is you can automate the timing. So when you have candidates who are 3 or 4 stars, and I move them to first interview request, it instantly triggers this entire sequence of events. It starts asking the candidate via email and text to book the time, letting them know we're super excited to meet with them. They schedule, and then once they schedule, the reminder sequence kicks in, as well as all this nurturing content that I want to put in there. Anything you want, you can put into that sequence, and you're going to drastically increase the chances that your candidates show up for those interviews and that you don't get ghosted. The other reason why you don't get ghosted is because these tools have an option for the candidates to decline the interview. So when they do decide to move on, more often than not, they're actually rejecting or declining the invite. So you know ahead of time that you've got that time back. All right. The next video I'd love to share with you guys how not to get ghosted by candidates is our candidate nurturing process. So we're going to discuss some key tips and tricks on how to nurture the relationship with the candidate beyond the interview and in-person interactions, because I think it's absolutely crucial that we continue to drip. It's like remarketing to the candidate outside of our in-person interactions. We'll see you in the next video.